Hello and welcome to Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and today we are celebrating the spooky month of October by talking about some scary movies, but I'm not a scary movie fan.
Yeah.
So I really don't like jump scares. I can handle them, but when I was younger, I really couldn't. But now I'm a little bit better.
hmm
Um, but I don't find a lot of joy in scary movies unless the story is really good and has a really good hook.
hmm
So I've made a list of 10 movies that I think are really good. Some of you guys hear and go, "Oh, that's not scary," but I think
It's got
they're
horror elements.
yeah. And then Caleb has added some to the list also. So we're going
Yeah.
to be discussing those tonight.
And as for my resume of horror movies, I love horror movies. Some of my favorites. Ironically, I was not this way until about it was probably COVID, lockdown that where I really started getting into them, and I think it's because 2018, 2019. 2018 is whenever Hereditary came out, and I have talked about this at nauseum. That Hereditary is uh, it is a film that unlocked like old fears that like I forgot I had, and it was a very personal, scary movie for me. Um, and Cameron and I were talking about this a little earlier today because I was talking about like, yeah, we're gonna do scary movies for people who don't like scary movies. And he was like, "Oh, I mean, what broke down that barrier for you was Hereditary because there's nothing scarier than Hereditary for you." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely it." So it was definitely actually seeing the scariest movie I will ever see that made me okay with the rest of them.
And let me just add a little asterisk by I don't like scary movies. I may not watch many scary movies, but I know all about them thanks to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Uh, Generally, any time a scary movie comes out, I immediately read the plot on Wikipedia. So I may not have seen them, but I have definitely read about them or watched documentaries about them. I'm kind of fascinated by them. I just don't enjoy watching them.
I still haven't seen Longlegs.
Hmm.
Um, did you? Is it because I know like you're the one that turned me on to Longlegs because I didn't know about it, and then you're like, look at this marketing campaign, and I'm like, oh, this is super cool. So did you end up like reading
I don't
spoilers
think
about that?
I've. If I did, I don't remember what it said. I don't remember if I read it or not.
I've just heard from so many people that like it is this generation's Silence of the Lambs, and I'm like, okay, gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one I probably could have put on here because like my mom loves Silence of the Lambs, and that that's really my that's my metric is like if my mom likes it, I'm sure it's fine for people who don't like scary
Yeah,
movies.
I think my mom has seen Silence of the Lambs, and she doesn't do scary movies. So yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen parts of
yeah,
Silence of the Lambs. I don't think I've ever
yeah.
seen it all the way through. So
So this is 16 movies, including Silence of the Lambs, that
eh,
are
yeah, and a quick note: we did not put Pee Wee's Playhouse on or Pee Wee's Big Adventure on there, even though it is in the thumbnail. But Large Marge is one of the scariest moments for most children, so we just
Mhm.
had to put her on there.
Oh yeah, and that's what we really want to do. Like there are movies that just have like scary moments in them, like another just like talking point. We show at our church plant so many years ago. We showed Disney's A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, and we did not pre-screen it because Disney.
Mm,
um, but oh man, whenever I think it was the first Ghost, like the very first Ghost, the Ghost of Christmas Past. Uh, no, it wasn't that one. I don't remember which one it was, but there was a scene. All the kids got like we had this big blow up screen and we were in the gymnasium. They got up and all ran to their respective bathrooms. And
The
so
sheer chaos, and the lights go out, and then
yeah.
you hear kids screaming.
And so for this movie night, because that's what this was, like a church movie night. It was just a bunch of adults watching A Christmas Carol, and then the the oldest of the kids who were scared, and she was about 13. Uh, I mean, she took them in the nursery, and they started watching the Veggie Tales. so
I
it,
remember when I was it was probably third grade. We watched a movie called Young Sherlock Holmes, and I freaked out. I could not handle it. There's a plot where they are, I think they're killing people with like a drug that makes them hallucinate, and the hallucinations are terrifying.
Yep.
And there's a part where like a stained glass window knight comes alive, is attacking everybody. Stuff. No way. I was out. They had me sit down and go color at the table in the back of the room.
So funny thing, we'll get to this list eventually, but you know we're just talking about our history with scary movies. This one's not necessarily a scary movie either, but Independence Day. With I don't remember who plays the doctor, but like
It's
where like
Data from Star Trek.
it was Brent Spiner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So whenever like you know he's the alien speaking through him like release me. That was terrifying. So what my dad used to do, what my dad used to do, and this was a very effective punishment. Everyone disciplines their kids in different ways. So I don't know if they do this in school anymore. So I was homeschooled from middle school onwards. In elementary school, they had like this, you know, like you had like it was either like you had a certain amount of clothespins on your collar because we all had collars because we had a uniform at this school, and like if you did something bad, they'd take away a clothespin and. But one that I always remember is we had like these cars on magnets that were on like the board, and everyone started at green light. And if you did something yellow, you did something bad. That's a yellow. You know, that's a warning. Yield, please. Then you did something bad again. Oh, red. That's stop. And then there was red, but it had like a U in the middle for like unacceptable, I guess. So for stuff like if I got a red that day, or if I got a U, then my parents would give like me an actual punishment. You know, spankings, go to your room, whatever. When I got a yellow, my dad would just make me watch movies that he wanted me to watch that I was too scared to watch, and Independence Day was one of them. so that you know, people parent in different ways, but if your kid does something yellow worthy but not like red or U worthy, just make them watch a movie they don't want to watch. That's actually how I initially watched Serenity. So Serenity, my dad wanted me to watch for the longest time, but I could never make it past the first scene. Like I didn't even make it to the Reavers. It was the first scene where River is at school, and then what's her face from Bones stabs her in the head with a pen. I was always out at that point, and eventually I did something. I think like it was funny. So it was like one of the first times that mom and dad left the house without leaving a babysitter. And so I was watching Terminator Salvation because I love Terminator. My scaredy cat phase made no sense. Okay, there were some things I was scared of, but I wasn't scared of Terminator. But I forced Cameron to watch Terminator Salvation with me because I wanted a friend, and so he was miserable the whole time. That he told Dad, and Dad's like, "Okay, well now I'm going to force you to watch Serenity." And so that's how I watched Serenity for the first time. Is I had to be forced. So anyway, so honestly, I think these 15 scary movies I think these will be perfect as punishments for your kids who are too
Sure.
scared. So parents out there, these are the movies you can show your kids as punishment while still being good parents. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with your first one. You know what's funny? I said that, and now the first one, I'm like, I don't know about this one being like uh, a good punishment because it's kind of like actually
We'll
scary.
kind of give some warning. Some of these are definitely not for
Yeah,
children.
yeah. So
Uh,
Late Night with the Devil.
yeah, we did a show about this. Was it earlier this year?
It was early. Yeah, yeah. This came out earlier this
We
year.
both love this
Yeah.
movie.
I think it's unfortunate that it came out in like February. It would have killed right now.
Yeah, and then it was on
Shudder.
Shudder or whatever, which not a lot of people have access to, which is a shame because this is just
It's phenomenal.
I just really like this movie. I wouldn't say it's really scary, but I really enjoy the story. There is a gross out moment towards the end, but for the most part,
I think it's unsettling.
yeah. Some of these are I can handle unsettling. I don't do jump scares, so this is not
Yeah.
jump scares.
You know what it is? It's the fact that it is so uncanny, like you're watching an episode of a late night show from the 80s, you know?
Yeah,
Or whatever, or whenever this takes place.
I think
Like,
70s, but yeah, I agree.
but like it's kind of that uncanny valley thing where like it's so realistic that it seems wrong, and that's the unsettling part.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of analog horror on YouTube, where it's like it seems like it's a real news broadcast and something's happening or that sort of thing. I can really dig into those.
Oh yeah, did I ever send you the Godzilla ones?
I've seen most of them. The guy in the suit,
yeah, the guy in the suit.
Mhm.
There's a Batman one that if I haven't sent it to you, I gotta send that one to you because that one's something.
I'm a big fan of like Gemini Home Entertainment and Channel 58.
That was the one I was thinking of, Channel 58. Yeah.
The best part of Channel 58 is when it's like when the aliens have hacked the or whatever it is has hacked the signal, and it says when they come, remember the 3 Fs: front yard, face up, and forward, or something. It's about laying down on the ground and waiting for them to take you or something.
Yeah,
it's great.
Did you ever see the farm one? The happy meat farm or something?
Yes, with that's like a computer system controlling everything or something. Yeah,
no, it was a muse. Like it was a monster that I'll have to send it to you.
I know I've seen it. I know I've seen Matt Pat watch it or something. I've definitely seen it. A lot of these run together in my head because they're all kind of similar.
It's the one that like and I know he hates being called this, but I mean you're called it for a reason. The SpongeBob Theory guy, he was a part of it. Do you remember that? Do you know?
Oh, right, because that's the one where it crossed over to a bunch of different YouTube channels, and yes, I do know what you're talking about. Yes,
yeah. I know he hates being called the SpongeBob Theory guy, but like whenever that's what you're known for, that's what you're known for.
right. So definitely check out Late Night with the Devil if you can. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. So
definitely. So I think our last show of the year, because I was planning out what our shows are going to be throughout the rest of the year. I think our last show of the year is going to be the Sharkies, our award show, and so going through like films of the year, this is definitely one that's on my notes app as a nomination.
Yeah, there's an episode where we discussed this and Shogun and a bunch of other stuff. It was like everything on that episode was just fire.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I think that was our first show of the year. It's like, here's things that we're excited about coming up this year. And then it turns out that, man, do we have great taste or what?
Yeah. All right, so what is next on our list here?
Next up is one of mine, Werewolf by Night. This is it's kind of a horror movie. I think this is about 40 minutes long. It is on Disney Plus. This is based off of the Marvel comic book Werewolf by Night. I won't spoil too much about who appears in it, but it involves the Bloodstone family.
Mhm.
And a very interesting thing is initially it was released in black and white,
Mhm.
and it's phenomenal. I would recommend. I would say your first viewing definitely should be in black and white.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother with the color version. Definitely watching black
So
and white.
so actually,
Uh-huh.
I would. So here's the thing. I was like you. I'm like, what? Why is there a color version? So I never bothered with it. My dad watched it in color. It's not what you think it is.
Okay.
It's in Technicolor.
Oh, they okay. That's
Yeah,
kind of fun.
it's in Technicolor. And so he showed me something. I'm like, oh, this is kind of. Now here's the thing. Black and white, definitely the way to go your first time through because that's the way it was made.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no. I wish it was called because it's called Werewolf by Night in color. I wish it was called Werewolf by Night in Technicolor. I
Yeah.
wish. I wish
Yeah,
that's.
there's probably a copyright issue or something, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, if you like, I feel like nobody saw this, and it's a shame because a lot of the stuff on Disney Plus that's Marvel is not great, but
Yeah.
this one's phenomenal. And
I think out of all the stuff they've ever put on a Disney Plus, ooh, I love WandaVision. I love Loki. I love the Guardians special. This one might still be the best one out of all of them, though.
yeah, I think most of what you just listed. There's one episode of What If I really like, and
Oh yeah,
there's
of
one
course.
phenomenal episode of X Men '97 that will probably be in our Sharkies. I'll just go
Oh
ahead
yeah,
and spoil it.
yeah, definitely.
um,
I don't know. You know what? I'll give X Men '97 a better because I think from that episode onwards.
yeah,
But it's definitely it's an okay show up until episode 5. um,
yeah.
but yeah, so I think this and the nice thing about this is everything in Marvel is just so interconnected, and if it's not interconnected, it seems empty. But if it is interconnected, it's like, man, I just want a story. There's something about this. It's not connected to anything in the Marvel universe at all, as far as I can remember. But it is so complete. And honestly, I just want these people to come back. I want Doctor Strange, Moon Knight. Just give me Midnight Suns. I don't care about anything else. Just give me Midnight Suns.
Canceled or
Oh,
rumored to be
what?
canceled.
Oh, well, I missed what you said. What?
So the rumor is now that Blade is supposedly canceled. They're moving forward with a Midnight Suns either special or movie instead. So that's probably
Uh,
where we see these guys again.
yeah, and yeah, I definitely would love that. I wonder if because I know they keep talking about Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
I wonder if if they move forward with who they keep talking about for Ghost Rider, I don't see that just being on Disney Plus because they keep dropping Ryan Gosling.
mm-hmm.
Now, if it was I love Ryan Gosling, but to me, I want Ryan Gosling to be Nova. I want him to be Richard Rider.
Mm-hmm.
I want Norman Reedus to be Ghost Rider.
Sure.
And here's the thing: you could get Norman Reedus on Disney Plus. He's not that big. um,
Sorry, Norman. Yeah.
yeah. Hey, he's with Kojima. He's doing fine.
Yeah. And I think this one's pretty harmless. You can watch this with your family, no problem.
Oh
So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is definitely one that if they get a yellow at school, make them watch it. This is a punishment. It's that kind of. This is Independence Day scary.
right.
But yeah, so this is one of mine. Moving on. Okay, so I was not familiar with this one, but the Peter Jackson thing
Have
interests me.
you never seen The Frighteners?
I haven't. The only Peter Jackson film that I was familiar with before, like that came out before Lord of the Rings, and I wasn't familiar with it before Lord of the Rings, but like Peter Jackson is just like Lord of the Rings at this point. The only thing that I know of him pre Lord of the Rings is Dead Alive.
Right.
So no, I am not familiar with the Frighteners.
So basically, Michael J. Fox is the main character, and he's basically got the sixth sense power. He can talk to ghosts. He sees ghosts.
Okay.
And so what he is doing is he becomes like friends with them, and he has the ghosts go and haunt people. Then he goes in there like a ghostbuster and charges them to do an exorcism.
Oh, that's fun.
So he's a scam artist. But then there's actually an evil ghost that's actually out there that I won't get. That's all I'll say, because the more that gets into spoilers,
Yeah.
they just actually start dealing with. So now there's an actual ghost that's a threat, and it's great.
Is that Shaquille O'Neal?
No, but
Okay.
it does have Jeffrey Combs in there, who is awesome,
Oh, I love Jeffrey Combs.
and who's the guy? Gary?
Oldman.
No, the
Coleman.
one that's crazy, Gary.
Gygax. Gary.
I'm drawing a complete blank. Hold on. His son is in it. The one that's in Starship Troopers. Shoot, I'm gonna go completely blank here. Everybody at home is screaming the name at the top of their.
All the Frighteners fans are just so disappointed in you.
They are just Busey, Gary Busey, his
Gary
son.
Busey. Okay,
Jake,
gotcha.
Jake Busey is
Jake.
in this.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. And the one on the right on the poster is the guy from Adam's Family, the original Adam's Family.
Oh, that's fun.
John Aston.
Uh, so the way you describe this movie, do you know what it gives me like Klaus from Umbrella Academy vibes?
Yes.
See, that seems like something he would do. Like he would have Ben go haunt somebody, and then no, I mean if you think about it, in season 2 he became a cult leader.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is just a great little movie.
Okay.
Definitely check this one out
So
if you have not seen it.
is
There
this kind
is a. It's. I think if your kid's like 12 or 13, they should be fine with it. There are some scary. Once the creature shows up, the scary ghost, it does get a little freaky at parts, especially towards the end.
compare this to Ghostbusters?
Oh, this is way more of a horror film than Ghostbusters.
Okay. Gotcha.
Ghostbusters is a comedy. I don't think of Ghostbusters as a horror film. I think that is a comedy.
Okay.
With the exception of the library ghost at the very beginning, Ghostbusters is not a scary movie. This one, it does deal with some more adult content, I would say. So yeah, 12 or 13 should be okay. There's probably some language in there and stuff,
Mhm.
And I think some of the deaths are a little brutal.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I highly recommend this one.
All right. Next up, another one of yours. Night of the Living Dead.
I saw this at my friend's house at a Halloween party one year. If you don't know, I had a severe zombie phobia growing up. I've gotten much better at it these days, but this is just a great film, start to finish. And this is not the first zombie film, but this is really the one that kind of started setting up the rules. And um, this is George Romero's movie, and why it's became so popular was they messed up the copyright thing at the end. They left it off, and so just anybody who wants could show this movie because it wasn't copyrighted. And so there's rumors or there's theories that this movie has been shown more in theaters than any other movie ever, just because there was no copyright, so just anybody could show it. The story of Barbara and her brother. I don't remember her brother's name, but they were visiting a grave and the zombie breakout happens. Barbara gets away, gets stranded in a house of other survivors, and they try to survive the night. And I won't spoil the ending. The ending is fantastic, though. And I will say that the little girl on the cover, I guess I will kind of spoil part of the movie. The scene of her killing her parents is so horrific. The sounds that are being made and stuff, it's very unhuman,
Yeah.
almost like rats squealing. It'll stick with you. That scene with her with the spade and everything, it's shocking.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Uh,
I
and
definitely recommend this one.
I think that is because if I recall, like in that scene specifically, like, they don't show anything, right?
No, you just hear the
Right.
sounds of the spade like stabbing them,
Yeah.
and this it's kind of like these
Yeah.
weird akimbo shots where it's
Yeah.
tilted and stuff, and yeah, it's brutal.
So I have always said this, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to say it. I'm sure that there is a quote that's where someone has said this, and I just don't know who said it. But I've always thought this since the Dark Knight, because the Dark Knight, the Joker kills people, does horrifying things, and like carves Gamble's face up. Gamble, played by Michael J. White. Uh, they don't show anything, and so that's when I learned there is nothing scarier than the viewer's imagination.
Absolutely, leave it to your imagination. That's why Jaws. We should put Jaws on this list.
Oh yeah,
Um,
17. There we go. Silence of the Lambs,
um,
Jaws, and 15 more.
and it wasn't the plan, but the shark, you don't see it for most of the movie, and that's because the shots just didn't turn out right, and it makes it far scarier.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there's the jump scares in this are probably mild, like
Yeah.
and but I really like the characters. They really set up a lot of the tropes here for zombie movies going forward. It's not gross like other zombie movies is. I mean, the scene with the little girl is probably the grossest scene,
Yeah.
I would say.
You do not get the first 4 seasons of Walking Dead without this.
You don't get a lot of our movies without
That's
this. You definitely don't get Return
yeah,
of the Living Dead. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
I almost put Return of the Living Dead on this list, but I left it off.
You know,
It's a little silly.
uh, there's one movie that I've been meaning to watch, just because it looks fun and I love Batista. But the problem is I can't stand modern day Zack Snyder. There's that Army of the Dead, which is
Uh-huh.
it's apparently a Vegas heist film.
I don't know if
Uh,
you cut out. You still
oh,
there?
oh,
Okay.
I did cut out. It's like a Vegas heist film meets Night of the Living Dead.
I've,
uh,
I've discovered that most Zack Snyder movies, he'll do like a crazy montage at the beginning, and that's usually the best part of the movie. And I think that one, I think I've seen the opening scene. I think it's like a crazy montage. And I've heard that's
oh, okay.
the best part.
Well, it makes sense because what's Zack Snyder's best movie? 300. That is a 90-minute montage.
Sure.
um, but yeah, okay, yeah, Night of the Living Dead. Next up, another one of mine. Scream. Uh, so I think this is probably like the first horror movie that like really grabbed me. I think I was about 16 when I saw it. And it's kind of Scooby Doo ish, uh,
Sure. Yeah.
and it's like you said, there you got to have a plot that grabs you. This is just a full on murder mystery in a sense.
And it's funny. It has funny
Yes.
jokes in it. And I think this is a good starter scary movie. If you're
Mhm.
trying to get someone into scary movies, this is
Yeah.
probably a good one to start with. This
I
does have
it
jump scares. It
Yes.
probably like 14 and up. I'd say be okay to watch this.
Yeah, definitely. It's it's the tutorial. It tells you the rules.
Yeah, it celebrates other scary movies.
Mhm.
It's like I said, it's a good introduction to the world of scary
Yeah.
movies.
I think what we're gonna find, because the rest of your list and a couple more things on my list. I tried to steer away from meta, but as far as scary movies, that for people who don't like scary movies, meta is going to be a big thing because I think that meta horror movies, I think the meta-ness of it is the most disarming part about it being scary. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like with Scream, I've got another one on here. I think you've got maybe two more on here that are meta. The fact that they are meta is what makes them less scary because that's the disarming part.
Yeah, and I like I said, a good hook, a good. I'm more interested in the story than being scared. So I
Yeah,
know I'm not the typical horror movie fan. A lot of people are just like, oh, I like being scared. I like, whatever.
yeah. Oh no, I mean honestly, you'd be surprised how many horror people are the same way. Like nobody likes Saw for the torture, you know? Um Saw is a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 film series.
Hmm.
Uh, it is an 11 film series that by the time we get to like 5 and 6 and 7, at this point, it's just a soap opera, you know?
Yeah, it's
Uh,
kind of like Five Nights at Freddy. Starts out simple, and then by the
yeah,
by the fifth one, you're like, whoa, okay,
there,
hold on,
there,
what?
there are things that they set up in the second movie that they don't pay off until the sixth movie.
Yeah, yeah,
It's really funny.
yeah.
So yeah, you're definitely not alone, especially like in the horror in the horror scene. Uh, I think the actual scariness of it is the that that's just the bonus, you know.
Yeah, here's I'm gonna bring up one that's not on our list, because I don't like it. The Purge movies, in theory, I should like. I just think the writing and the ideas are bad. Like I think there's potential there. They just don't follow through it. It's not. It's just too stupid.
So there are 5 Purge movies, I think,
One thing a TV series, yeah,
and a TV. So I haven't seen any of the TV series. I think of the Purge movies, I only like 2 of them, and it's the ones that have Frank Grillo in them, which is Anarchy and Election Year.
yeah.
I like both of those. The first Purge movie is not even interesting. It's just a home invasion movie.
Hmm.
You It doesn't even have to. The in the first movie, the idea of the Purge doesn't even need to be there.
Right, and
um,
I think the TV series I've seen like about half the season. I think it's more interesting because it's kind of like you see the purge happen, and then you kind of follow the characters for a year for the effects it had on them, and then leading up to the next purge.
oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So it's more. I think it's a TV series where they show that the lady that talks on the purge has now begun or
Mhm.
whatever, the voiceover, how they tricked her, how she thought it wasn't real, like to get her to record those lines and stuff. And
Uh,
it's some different little ideas like that. And there's like a bank heist, and like it's right down to the timer, and they're looking at the video to see if his foot's still in the bank when the timer was up, to see if they can go after him or not. There's like, because it's only for 24 hours. So there's little weird nuances like that. That's
mhm.
interesting in the movie or the
Have
TV show.
Have you seen the College Humor video about the Purge?
I have not.
Uh,
Um,
that's one where they're like trying to break down the rules of the Purge, but it's all a bunch of stupid stuff like because like the Purge is like, okay, yeah, go out, kill somebody, yeah, it's fine. uh but they're like, hey, if I steal a car, do I have to like go to the DMV tomorrow to get it registered?
right.
Or hey, it's illegal to own a coyote as a pet, can I do that and then still keep the coyote as a pet later? Or
Well,
one guy's like, hey, can I marry as many people as I want? I just love love.
yeah, it's like, if why not just go on a hacking spree on the purge night, steal all the money, and then be like, well,
Mhm.
whatever, I got all the money
Yeah.
now. It's yeah, it's dumb. And I will say this also: the purge movies, they have to have been a ripoff. I was listening to a podcast. I used to listen to Complete Guide to Everything with Tim and Tom, and just one episode, he goes, you know what? He said, we should have a holiday where crime's legal for 24 hours. Everybody can do whatever they want. And then I swear, a year and a half later, the Purge movies came out.
uh, so I don't think you guys were here for the Louisville Purge, right?
I've heard stories.
Oh man, that was great. Honestly, I think the best part about The Louisville Purge was more entertaining than most of the Purge movies because we just turned on the police scanner and it was really funny because it's like we are in pursuit. The man has stole a beer and a pickle. Like it's oh man, Louisville Purge, never forget. Um,
All right.
but yeah,
So what's next on our list? We're way off track.
we're kind of on track. We're still
Yeah.
talking horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like we're ranting about Disney for 3 hours.
Oh no. We're getting better.
Yeah. Ooh, yes. Stephen King's The Shining
But not the one you're thinking of.
that was what I was wondering because my hot take, I don't like that movie.
I prefer this one. To be fair, I have not seen the Jack Nicholson one all the way through. I've seen most of it. But I think this one is better. You do get some nice little jump scares. And for one thing, the Jack Nicholson one, he's going off an axe just killing everybody. This one, they use a croquet mallet, which for some reason that's just way more brutal. Him just smacking people with that croquet mallet. And I know it's a little cheesy and campy, but I just like this one better. And I like the ending of this one better than the original.
Well, that's probably because this is the ending to the actual book.
Right.
So here's the thing. I don't like there is not a single Kubrick film that I like. I hate every Kubrick film.
Have you seen Doctor Strangelove?
That's the one I haven't seen, so I might like that one. But you know, first of all, if you enjoy A Clockwork Orange, you need to go to a therapist. There's no enjoying that movie. I know someone who enjoys that movie, and he needs to see a therapist. I don't. Infamously, I don't like 2001. Stephen King's The Shining, or Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, does not understand The Shining,
right?
Because The Shining is a metaphor for alcoholism. And they completely get that wrong in the book, in the movie. They changed the ending of the movie so much so that Mike Flanagan's Dr. Sleep, which is one of my favorite horror movies. It's not on this list because it actually is extremely scary.
And I've been talking about watching that this.
Can you repeat that? We cut out again.
I was saying I'm debating watching Doctor Sleep, so we'll see.
It is one of my favorites. I love it. You know what? I say extremely scary. Like I said, the Hereditary is the scariest anything will ever be. Now, the thing is the end. They actually, in Mike Flanagan's Dr. Sleep, they once again changed the ending because they didn't do the ending in the original. The Overlook Hotel was still standing by the end of Kubrick's. So what they did for the Dr. Sleep movie is they just did the ending to the Shining book for the ending of Dr. Sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mike Flanagan is Stephen King's chosen one. Anytime Mike Flanagan does a Stephen King adaptation, it's brilliant. He's doing a Carrie miniseries next, and I'm so excited for it. He and Stephen King are very good friends. The ending to his Dr. Sleep movie, he said, was a gift to Stephen because Stephen King infamously also hates the Kubrick film, and he's like, I never got to see the ending to my book on the big screen, and so Mike Flanagan said, "Here you go."
Yeah, and I think the ending to this is really touching, and we haven't really talked about Steven Weber. He's fantastic. I love Steven Weber and anything he's in, but he's great in this as Jack. So
I'm trying to think if there's anything I've actually seen him in. Like, I've heard the name, I know what he looks like.
He used to be on TV show Wings that I loved, and it was a spinoff of Cheers back in the day. Probably before your time.
You know what? You know what I know him from? He played Alfred in the Adam West animated movies for Batman. The Return of the Cape Crusaders.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And
he there was some Sci-Fi Channel show he was on. It
He
never
was
made much sense.
he was on iZombie, wasn't he? That was a CW show.
Was he on iZombie? I don't remember. Yeah, I guess he was. Yeah, he was also a voice on All Dogs Go to Heaven, the series. Wow, there was. But let me figure out what that series was real quick that he was on this Sci-Fi Channel. That we watched it, and it was just strange. Like we liked it because it had the guy from Shogun that we were like Scorpion in it. Um, what Helix? That was the name of the show. That was on Sci-Fi Channel.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, it was a Ronald D. Moore show, um, but it got canceled after 2 seasons. So like the story's not finished. But we it was a weird show that we liked watching.
He was in 4 episodes of Fillmore. I love Fillmore.
That's
Hey,
shoot, what was it called? Safety Patrol show,
it was
right?
yeah, it was the same. Disney, put Fillmore on Disney Plus. I want to watch it again.
He was on an episode of Community.
He was? Which episode was that?
Ladders, first episode of the 6th season. He's a
Oh my
detective.
gosh. That's right. Welcome. And then he climbs up 2 ladders. Oh, I remember that. Oh, geez. Yeah, of course I remember this guy. Welcome to Ladders.
Yeah, he's been on a ton of stuff. I'm just looking at his Wikipedia entry. He's been on so many things.
Yeah.
So
Odysseus and Hercules. Oh.
yeah, he's a great actor. So yeah, if you want a different take on The Shining, like I said, some of it's probably a little cheesy this day and age because it was like a '90s TV miniseries. But yeah,
I mean, it's you know what? I'll go ahead and stick up for it. I think that Stephen King miniseries are pretty decent because you had The Stand, you had this, and you had It. Now, I will say that the It movies are definitely at this point better than the miniseries.
sure, yeah.
But I don't think because I still need to watch the remake of the Stand miniseries with Alexander Skarsgård. But I don't think anyone's overtaken the Stand yet. So
yeah. Yep.
All right.
All
yeah.
right, what's next?
You get me talking about Stephen King, I'll talk your ear off.
I know. We gotta get going.
Yeah. I ran the horror section at Half Price Books. This is my thing. Here we go.
So I'll say this: if you are trying to get into these movies, I do recommend watching these in reverse order. Maybe start with Army of Darkness. It's more of a comedy and less of a scary movie. That's how I started these. Evil Dead 2, though, is more of a horror film, but it's also
a comedy.
It is gory. It's not as gory as the first one, though. The first one's ridiculous.
I think this one's gory in a funny way, though. Like this one is definitely inching towards comedy versus the first one.
Right. The first one has like one funny scene in it. That's it. This one's more of a tragic comedy all the way through. And you see Bruce Campbell becoming the Ash character that we'll know and love in Army of Darkness. It's like a slow transformation.
Yeah.
As he loses his mind. And
did you ever see the Star show Ash versus Evil Dead?
I watched, I want to say, the first 2 seasons and just never finished it. Okay. I don't love there's parts of it I liked, but I did not love it. It was a little bit too gross out humor.
Yeah.
And I know there was a lot of fighting behind the scenes and it kind of spiraled out of control towards the end.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask is because so IFC had a show a couple years ago that was kind of like Ash versus Evil Dead was The Prestige. This show was like The Illusionist, kind of came out around the same time, kind of the same concept. But I like this one better because I like The Illusionist better than The Prestige. It's called Stan Against Evil. Did you ever see that one?
I think I saw the commercials for it, but I never watched it.
It had John C. McGinley as the star.
Yeah.
Dr. Cox. I love that one.
Yeah, he's fun. Yeah, but Evil Dead, this one is probably, I would say, 16, 17 and up for this one. It is a scarier movie.
I'd say this is the most mature one on our list.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, so if you want something you can watch, like if you're 12-year-old, Army of Darkness is a much better choice.
It has a great
Not,
line. This is my boomstick.
yeah, Army of Darkness. It has scary elements, or like skeletons and stuff, but it's not a scary movie at all. I think there's like one gory scene, and it's like stupid gore. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Also, if you like me are a big fan of that third act of Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, it's because of this.
Yes, these are Sam Raimi movies, who did the Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, and then did the most recent Doctor Strange movie, and is probably doing the next one also.
Which, you watch this and then you go watch that first Dr. Octopus scene. Oh yeah, it totally makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Now there's one thing about Army of Darkness that it always gets to me, because Army of Darkness was not the original title for that film.
Right, and the original title is so much better.
It was going to be called the Medieval Dead.
Yeah,
it's such a good name.
Yeah, that's the one thing about movie studios. Sometimes they'll just do these really dumb decisions, and it's like, why did you change that?
Yeah.
So.
Also, another fun fact, and this one is not on the list because it's not a recommendation. This one is definitely for horror fans. But fun fact about the Evil Dead franchise, in my opinion, this is the one where the remake is better than the original. Where the most not the most recent one. The most recent one's pretty good too, but the remake that came out in 2010, I think is better than the original Evil Dead. So it's one of those definitely a different vibe than Evil Dead 2. Although now that I think about it, Evil Dead 2 is also kind of a remake of the first one anyway.
Well, technically, what happened was, real quick, they lost the rights to the first movie. So the first 5-10 minutes of this is a quick remake of the first one, and then everything past that's brand new.
Yeah.
So basically, up until where he wakes up in the puddle is where the new movie starts.
Yeah. And so we give this movie a groovy.
Yeah, this one is kind of, if you're a horror fan, this is kind of like if Scream is an essential one, this is. Moving on.
I also, we're moving on, but one more thing. I mourn the fact that something happened to Mortal Kombat 11, because we were definitely supposed to get Ash as a character, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, we I don't know if we'll ever know what happened behind the scenes, but something fell through.
Yeah,
so something wasn't signed. Something happened.
And here's the thing: it wasn't even a rumor. Bruce Campbell said "groovy" at the end of one of the trailers.
Right, and they recorded, there's lines recorded that are referring to Ash and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, so next up, one of mine. I put this one right after Evil Dead 2 because it's very similar. This is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Are you familiar with this one?
This should have been on my list. I forgot about it.
Okay, gotcha. So essentially, for those who don't know what this is this is like a mix between Evil Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but from the perspective of the would-be killers. But they're not killers. Right. They're just normal guys, and
stupid kids keep killing themselves in front of us.
The stupid... Oh, man, it's the best line. Well, officer, we have had a doozy of a day. These crazy kids just come onto our property and started killing themselves. So here's the thing: if it wasn't for the ending where one of the kids actually does become a killer, and it turns out that he has actual history of mental issues and a history of witchcraft in his family, this would not be a horror movie. This would just be a comedy.
Yeah, and I will say this one's way more gory than other than Evil Dead than most of the movies on our list. This is the gory movie.
Yeah, and so this one. I still think Evil Dead is the most mature on because this one is definitely so gory that it's stupid.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The deaths are way over the top,
It's
and
like it's like one. I think one of my favorites is like she gets jump scared and she tries to jump out of the way and then just jumps into a wood chipper.
where he's pulling the legs out. Are you okay?
Yeah.
And she's got the legs.
Uh, but yeah, it's Alan Tudyk is one of them. I actually don't know the other guy. I think this is the
The
only
other
thing
guy is from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, or whatever the first one is with James Franco. He's the lab assistant. That's the first one
he
he gets
is
bit.
right. Yeah, so that's Rise of the Planet of the Apes. He is that guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I still, I mean, like, does that make him a? I don't know what that makes him, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if he did anything else, but he's in those two movies.
Uh,
So yeah, that's what I know him from.
Tyler Labine. Even his Wikipedia page is sparse.
Yeah,
Um,
we really like him. He just hasn't been
yeah,
in anything.
yeah. But yeah, this is a great one.
I like at the end when they've sewed his fingers back on. They've sewed one of the girl's fingers on his hand.
yeah. So this one, I think, this one is definitely kind of in the 14-year-old range, but for different reasons. Just because. Yeah, I mean, like just because like it's so funny and so stupid. It's not necessarily scary. It's this one is more of like a weak stomach warning, I guess.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
but even then, it's not like realistic gore. This is Mortal Kombat gore. This is like it's so funny.
Right.
Like how many bones are in the body sector? How many bones are you actually crushing?
Right.
So next up, I knew you were gonna mention this one.
You could put either movie on here. I prefer Gremlins 2, but Gremlins 1 is definitely more scary than Gremlins 2. Gremlins 2 is more of a parody of the first one. But yeah, the Gremlins movies they're fun. I think 12 and up would be fine with these. The first one definitely has more jump scares. It's more violent.
This one has more female gremlins.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Yeah, more Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Anything else that Jordan Peele said?
How about Salad Gremlin?
It's just the Spider Gremlin. It's just
Gremlin.
It's just the Jordan Peele sketch. That's all it is.
It's all in the movie.
Yeah. But so at this point we've talked Scream. I put Tucker and Dale is in that. I would put this in that category of meta as well, to the point where like the meta and the comedy is the disarming part.
Yeah, I mean they're even making fun of like Leonard Maltin's in this, and he's reviewing the first Gremlins movie in this movie. So it's definitely got a lot of that comedy. Also, Christopher Lee's in this. I didn't know who he was when I was a kid growing up. Now I do, and it's awesome that he's in this movie. So yeah, just a fun little movie.
For me, it was different because I saw Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and at the end, I'm like, oh, it's Count Dooku.
So yeah, the first one though is definitely more of a horror film, and it spawns so many imitators. Like Ghoulies, and I don't know if Critters was before this or after, but
yeah, I think it was after.
But yeah, this is the OG, and it now has a new cartoon series on HBO Max. So
yeah. And also, if you play D&D, give them a gremlin without telling them. It'll be fun.
Sure.
I say that because that happened to me this year.
No, you say gremlin. Did they give you an actual mogwai and then it turned into a gremlin, or you just didn't know, or?
So they didn't. They just they described it as a Pikachu-looking thing.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, they gave it to me, but eventually we figured out that like you're not supposed to feed it after midnight. And one of them was you can't sing to it. That's not a gremlin thing, right?
No, Gizmo does like to sing that song he hums all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not like a trait or anything.
No, but so if that's the
That
case,
that actually might be from GI Joe, where there's a similar creature when they play a flute, they turn into a monster. That's
no,
probably what it's from.
no, I know exactly where he got it from. Now that you mention it, um, Attack of the Twonkies, Jimmy Neutron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it. Attack of the Twonkies is Jimmy Neutron's parody of Gremlins, but you can't sing to them or they'll go and like they'll turn into monsters. Um, but yeah, cool. Well, next up, I was so proud of you for this one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, both. Well, Happy Death Day 2 or 2U or whatever it's called, is more sci-fi, but the first one's more slasher movie, the vein of
Mhm.
Scream. I don't think it's terribly scary. I mean, there's some suspenseful moments and maybe a couple little jump scares, but it's more of the mystery of who is trying to kill True and
Very, very Scooby Doo.
sure, yeah, yeah, and it's funny. It's a fun little movie. The main character is very likable. Well, she's kind of a witch at first, but she
Mhm.
becomes very likable. The actress is
Yeah,
very good. I haven't really seen her in much else, which is sad because she's a good actress.
and unfortunately, I think the third one is also in limbo at this point because there's supposed to be a third one called Happy Death Day to Us.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think at this point it's in some sort of sequel limbo.
Yeah, I don't think the second one performed as well as they were hoping.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Um,
Oh, she was in La La Land.
oh, see, I haven't seen that. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I mean I've seen La La Land a lot of times, and I couldn't tell you who she played.
But yeah, this is if you like the Groundhog Day movies or I say movies, there's only one. But the or
type
like
Groundhog Day type movies because there's more
yeah,
than just.
Edge of Tomorrow, Live Die Repeat, whatever you want to call it. Those type of films. Just mix that with a slasher film, and that's
Yeah,
what this is.
yeah, and I mean so other ones that aren't on our list, but I mean like this one kind of encapsulates all of them. Uh, Classic movies that are just horror movies. Like have you seen Freaky?
No, but it may have been you. A lot of people have been recommending that one to me.
I probably recommend it too. So Freaky is Freaky Friday, but she switches bodies with a serial killer.
Right.
And so it's Vince Vaughn acting like a 16-year-old girl the entire movie, and it's great.
Funny. I so it's been on my list to check out
Yeah.
definitely. So
Um, I'm trying to think of some other ones. None are coming to mind, but they're. I mean, like at this point, this is a genre where they take like a classic movie and make it a horror movie.
yeah, they did a It's a Wonderful Life recently as a horror movie.
They did, yeah. That was what was it called? Totally.
That
It was on Amazon. Totally something.
that's a different one actually. That was totally 80s or totally something.
Oh yeah, that one was Back to the Future. Duh.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like I said, it's a
It's a genre.
it's a genre at this point.
Yeah.
But I would say I don't think Happy Death Day originated it, but this is the doom of that genre. Not the first person shooter, but it's like the one that like really got it going.
And it was written by Scott Lobdell. So there you go.
It was okay.
Yeah, who wrote X-Men after Chris Claremont, wrote some other comic books. So
Mhm.
there you go.
You know what? It's really interesting if you if you go onto like Wikipedia pages and look at comic book writers, but instead of you skip bibliography, go to filmography. Fascinating things you'll find out.
Oh yeah, and especially like J. Michael Straczynski, you'll find he worked on all these cartoon shows you watched as a kid. You're like, wait a second, what?
Yep.
So very cool. What is next on our list?
So this one I had to put it here. I think that I think that this is one that like I'd say you could show anybody this one honestly. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. It this
I would
it,
say teen and up, 12, 13 and up. I wouldn't show
yeah.
a 7-year-old.
Right. But like they at this point, like we're talking about wherever our lowest has been thus far, this is right there as well. So I think 13, 12, something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Um, there's like, if I'm recalling, it's been a while since I've seen this. There's like 2 kill scenes, if I recall. A lot of people talk
Yes.
about the shower scene. I think the stair scene is
Hmm.
crazy too. The way it's filmed, the way he's
Yeah.
falling, and the slash
Yeah.
marks and stuff.
I would honestly. So this is one of those unsettling movies.
Mhm.
I think to me the only scary part is the end where you find out.
Let's
um,
not spoil it. Well,
yeah.
in case it. I mean, if, this is one of those things where you assume everybody has seen this movie, but this movie is
Yeah.
also like 70 years old or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Did you ever see Bates Motel?
I did not. No.
So there's an interesting thing because you think you know. You mind if I at least kind? I won't spoil it, but I'll kind of tell you an interesting thing.
Okay, sure.
So it gets to the point where you think that the final season is just going to be an adaptation of Psycho,
Hmm.
and then it's not, and it's like an alternate reality where Psycho didn't happen.
Okay, so it's
It's
it's a different retelling.
right, exactly. So
Interesting.
the first 4 seasons could lead up to this,
Right, and
but
then
then
there's
the yeah
a left turn or whatever. Yeah.
yeah then it does a left turn in the 5th season. It's very interesting.
Huh. Okay.
Um,
I might have to read about that on Wikipedia then.
Hannibal does a similar thing. With
So, to people who don't like black and white movies or old movies, hey, do
or
yourself a favor. Check out Alfred Hitchcock movies. They're a lot of
yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Rear
definitely.
Window is a lot of fun.
North by Northwest is one of my favorite films of all time.
Man Who Knew Too Much.
Vertigo.
The Birds.
Um, we need to. You know what? We'll put this on the list for next year. Just a comprehensive uh, culture shark top 10 of so it won't be like a top 20. We won't have our own list. We'll come to a consensus because I'm sure we'll come to a consensus.
Yeah, there's some I haven't seen, so this will give me a year to kind of watch some of the ones I haven't seen. So
Yeah, and I would definitely recommend so. Uh, Next up, so is this an episode of a show?
no, it's a movie. It was released
Okay,
in theaters. They released 2 movies in theaters.
okay, gotcha. I
Uh,
actually I considered putting a Goosebumps episode on. I considered putting Haunted Mask on here. But
so
yeah.
this is a movie where I'm trying to remember how it starts. It's people trapped in a hotel, and William Sadler shows up and Billy Zane, and you think that William Sadler's the bad guy and Billy Zane's the good guy, but it's actually flipped. William Sadler's the demon knight, and Billy Zane's the demon trying to kill the demon knight. And basically, one by one, everybody's getting picked off in the hotel, and William Sadler is dying, and he is there to find the next demon knight that will continue the work that was started by Jesus way back in the day. There's a key that the demons are after. They hit it in Christ's blood, and then every time the demon knight dies, he replaces them with some of their own blood, and like the blood acts as a seal. Like you can pour it in a doorway, and it makes a seal the demons cannot pierce through. So it's a
Mhm.
crazy movie, but I really like it. I really like the story, and it's got like Lowell from Wings, Sandman from Spider-Man 3,
Thomas Hayden Church.
and there's some other actors in there that are fun.
CCH Pounder.
Yeah, and I think I get them mixed up. Is it Will Smith's wife in this one? Well, someone's in this movie. I can't remember.
No, you might be thinking of
Like I said, I get everybody mixed up.
no, no,
Right.
no.
No,
Jada,
Jada Pinkett.
is she in? I don't.
Yes,
She
she's in.
is. There she is. Oh my god.
Yeah, and Dick Miller's in it, who's in the Gremlins movies. He's great. Yeah, it's a fun little movie. I've only seen like the for TV version, so I don't know how graphic the other version is.
Right, right.
So
We'll put an asterisk next to this one.
yeah, but it's a lot of Billy Zane tempting everybody with their wishes, and once they give into their wishes, that he's got them. You know, um, so yeah, this one's a lot of fun. It was followed by a sequel, well, not a sequel, but another Tales from the Crypt movie, Bordello of Blood. I have not seen that one. Um, but that's like vampires, stripper vampires and stuff. I have not seen that.
Have one that I considered putting on here, but I think they're legitimately scary. But you putting something that's similar to Tales of the Crypt on here reminded me of it. Have you seen the Fear Street movies?
I think my wife watched them. I did not.
Okay,
But
gotcha. Yeah, so Fear Street was a trilogy. Like I said, I think they're actually kind of scary, so they're not on the list.
mhm,
But they came out like, so Netflix is doing like The Strangers Chapter 1, 2, and 3 all within a year.
mhm.
The first one to do that was Fear Street. I think Fear Street obviously did it a little bit better. um, um, but yeah.
Yeah, I think this one. I mean, it's cheesy. It's a Tales from the Crypt movie, but like I said, the story hook of this is Christ's blood they're using to fight off the demons and stuff is kind of fun.
I mean, that's great. It's kind of like I'm a big fan whenever the Spear of Destiny is a plot point in anything. Uh, so that like Christ's blood being a plot point is really funny.
And anything with William Sadler or Billy Zane is always fun. So they're two fun actors. So
Oh, speaking of Corey Feldman, he was in this. He was in the other one.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, not one that a lot of people talk about, but I think this is one of my um favorites. So
All right. What's yes, yes. I
so
love.
this one you could probably our youngest audience, maybe 8 and up. It's just got some scary scenes in it though. It's very freaky at times.
I was about 9 or 10 when this came out, and I
Yeah,
liked it.
yeah. Other Mother is terrifying.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know if she won any awards, but Terry Hatcher should have definitely won some voice work awards for this. She's kind of fantastic in this. Um, yeah, this is again another great starter horror film. If you're trying to get kids into horror movies, this is a great one. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, this is claymation or stop motion or whatever it is. Give it a chance. It's it's interesting.
Oh yeah. And it's Henry Selick.
I believe so. And this is
I,
a Neil Gaiman story.
yes, yes. We're not allowed to say his name right now, but yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I'm not allowed to say that I'm a fan of his, but
yeah.
uh,
Theoretically, if
yeah,
he exists, then yes, we
yeah,
we are fans.
yeah. Am I disappointed in the Good Omens season 3? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just one
Uh,
episode, but at least here's something that I've said for a long time. I think that any TV show that gets a green light should have a clause in the show that if it is a continuing storyline, you know, that if the show gets canceled, they are allowed to have a movie to wrap up the storyline.
yeah. Well,
There's
no.
nothing more disappointing than watching a show 2, 3 seasons and it get canceled and then the
Yeah.
story never finish. You feel like you've wasted so much time.
Mm. And here's the thing, I'm cool with that. I think the weirdest thing though, if you've seen like the post put out by like David Tennant and stuff, I mean they're still calling it season 3, but it's one episode. And like season
Very
3,
strange.
yeah, it's gonna be one episode, one 90-minute episode. Season
Like,
3 premieres. I'm like, no, it's a movie. Stop it.
yeah, it's a movie. Definitely a movie, a short film or whatever you want to call it, but it's a movie.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, but Yeah, so Coraline
I wonder
definitely
if
one of my
there's legal
favorites.
reasons with their contracts or something why they're calling it an episode, because it doesn't
I
make any sense.
I bet you. Yeah, I mean this entire situation, of course, definitely.
Yeah, I wonder if they called it a movie, they'd have to pay them more or something. Like they'd have to
Mhm.
renegotiate their contracts. But if it's
Yeah,
more of the TV show, they don't
yeah,
have to or something.
yeah. The only thing that gives me solace is the fact that this is still completely written by Gaiman.
Yes,
Even though he's not involved with the production, because he was like super involved with the production of seasons 1 and 2, so he's not going to be involved with the production. But this is still
I
his writing.
I haven't seen season 2, but I heard that that one's not based on the books. Is that correct? And but this one is kind of based on their notes from what they had planned.
So that's season 2 and 3 were gonna be
Because
it,
the other writer Terry Pratchett passed away, so
right. Those are stories they would have done had he not passed.
right.
And John Hamm is hilarious in season 2. He's got a bigger role in season 2.
Hmm.
Um,
For me, season 1 had a perfect ending, and I didn't need
oh,
to go any further.
I agree. I agree. I'm the same way about Stranger Things could go on this list. But
There's a lot of TV shows where I've said this before. You give me an exit ramp that's perfect, I will take it because shows always go downhill if you give it enough time.
yeah.
So if I get a perfect ending, I'm out. I did that with Chuck, and I left like on the perfect episode. And everybody's like, "Oh, that show was horrible," and I just have good memories of it. So yeah.
um, all right.
But
So
Coraline, awesome, scary movie.
it's also a great children's book if you
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
wanting to read it.
And like I said, Terry Hatcher, fantastic in it. I think the music is "They Might Be Giants," which is always fun.
Oh they're great in that. You mentioned Terry Hatcher, and Terry Hatcher's one of those that like I don't think she's famous, but I don't think she gets the credit that she deserves because I think people just know her as like
The
uh
Desperate Housewife or Lois and Clark. It's the two
desperate
big ones.
or she was a Bond girl in Tomorrow Never Dies, but she was
Mhm.
like she was the middle Bond girl who died in the middle of the movie versus Michelle Yeoh,
Mhm.
who was
Right.
like so yeah, but Terry Hatcher is actually like
She's also in
really
Spy Kids, I think, right? Was she the first one?
she was and she had like her hair got burned off. I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah.
And and she had like a weird sexual tension with Robert Patrick. Oh man, I love Spy Kids. One of the weirdest things is the fact that Megan Trainor is married to Daryl Sabra.
Right, right.
I'm happy for him, but it's just an odd pairing.
Yep.
um, it's also really weird whenever you're watching like Mythical Kitchen. Do you ever watch Mythical Kitchen, or were you just like Mythical Morning person?
It was just Mythical Morning.
So Mythical Kitchen is their cooking show, but it's not them. It's Josh who does like all their cooking,
Mhm.
and so he does insert celebrity eats their last meal, right? Um, and so Megan Trainor was on one of them, and Daryl Sabro was there. He wasn't in frame. He wasn't mic'd, but they were talking to him like he was in the other room. It's really weird because like you vaguely hear him, and I'm like, Junie's got a deep voice now. Also, Alexa Vega got married to Carlos from Big Time Rush. Other weird one.
There you go.
uh,
And
uh,
the girl from Halloween Town married her co-star from Halloween Town, one of the co-stars. So
she did, yeah.
yeah.
I love Halloween Town. Uh, oh man, I want to watch. Okay, yeah, I gotta watch those.
So yeah, we did put on the list, but you have younger kids. Halloween Town is also
Yeah,
at least the first couple are fine
yeah. I mean,
movies
like
for
I I
kids.
th- I think that around October, back in the 90s and early 2000s, just DComs were pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, and
Phantom of the Megaplex.
I appreciate Halloween Town because of I can't think of the actress's name, but she played April O'Neil in the first Ninja Turtles.
Judith Hoag.
Judith Hoag. Page was the other movies. Yes, Judith Hoag.
And Debbie Reynolds.
Yes, the fantastic Debbie Reynolds, mother of Carrie Fisher. Yes.
So here's the thing. People love Hocus Pocus. I don't really like Hocus Pocus. I love Halloween Town.
Sure. Yeah. And to tie it back into what we were talking about earlier, the girl playing Marnie is the girl from Rose Red, which was also another Stephen King miniseries.
Yep. It's all connected, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. So this is your last one, and then I've got one. But this one is kind of like the ultimate encapsulation of meta.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people watch the movie and going, I didn't get it. There's some great YouTube videos that really explain what is going on here with this film. I think this is probably my favorite on the list. Asterisk maybe. I'm trying to think what's all on this list, but I really enjoy this one. This is by another guy whose name we're not supposed to. Well, this is Drew Goddard, I think.
Yeah, Drew Goddard's good.
Yeah, but I was thinking of the other guy that he works with. I can't remember if he was involved with this or not. That did Buffy and Angel.
Oh yeah. No, he redacted is he did help write this.
Yeah, but this one's a lot of fun. It takes the concept of basically the Evil Dead, people going to a cabin and bad things happening and turning it on its head, or basically all the horror movies turning it on their head.
Yeah,
about why they're happening and why movies follow tropes.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when you don't follow those tropes.
Fun fact: I'm going to go ahead and say it because that's how they're designated in the movie. The whore, she is played by the yellow Power Ranger from Jungle Fury. That is my fun fact.
There you go. This one also has some Scooby-Doo-ish vibes. Also has a Thor in it. So
yeah. Chris Hemsworth plays the athlete. Also, fun fact, they filmed this before Thor came out, so
he's not the star.
He's not the star, and actually, now that I think about it, so Thor comes out in summer of 2011. This comes out in April 2012, like right before the Avengers, and they marketed Chris Hemsworth as the star of this movie, and it's great. And they didn't even pay him that much because they filmed it before everything. And so what it was is they filmed this in like 2007 or something, 2008. It was just sitting on a shelf for like 3 years.
There are so many movies that are just sitting on shelves that you don't know about.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. And that's funny is that if you go back and watch the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, he's also in that movie at the beginning.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, isn't that Thor?
You know what's funny? He's actually got my favorite line in the 2009 where it's like, because who plays the mom? That's Kate Bosworth, right? So
yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, so I think his parents are Chris Hemsworth and Kate Bosworth, and so it's a big intense scene, and she's given birth, and he's about to die. And she's like, let's name him after your dad, and she's like, Tiberius? No, that's the worst. And then of course that's where James T. Kirk comes from, is his middle name is Tiberius.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of this. We won't spoil too much of this because I think that but I will say my favorite scene is, and I'm out of context, this is going to be really funny, okay? Which is why I don't want to spoil it, because I think it's funnier out of context. But whenever the Japanese schoolgirls
they cuss it at the screen.
Whenever they pick up the frog and is like, The evil has been defeated. And then the guy from Billy Madison, I
Yeah,
can't remember his name.
Eric from Billy Madison. Yeah.
Yeah, he says, "Don't send the Japanese to do an American's job."
My favorite part is when the Harbinger is calling in to give us report, and they're like, he's like, "Am I on speaker? Am I on speaker?"
Once again, we're not explaining any of this. This is way funnier out of context.
But yeah, I highly recommend though, after you
Mhm.
watch this, go watch the YouTube videos that kind of break down the
Yeah,
movie more. Because they'll kind of explain, because a lot of people are like, I didn't like the ending, I didn't get it. And if you understand that it's about audiences and the reactions to that, they want horror movies to be a certain way, and when you don't make them that way, they reject them.
yeah.
It's really interesting.
I also think that I think like if I had to pick one thing that's super meta that I love about this movie, it's got to be the hair dye.
Hmm.
Like that. That's brilliant. I love the hair dye thing. Um, Now, speaking of Drew Goddard, I do want to quickly make a recommendation. I'm honestly so. This will be a part of this. Will probably at least be a nomination for the Sharkies. So I'll definitely be talking about this more. You know, Drew Goddard has a TV show out right now, right?
Oh, does he? I don't know.
It's called High Potential.
Is
It
that the one with Bruce Campbell, or is that the different one?
Different one.
Okay.
So High Potential. It stars Caitlin Olsen, Sweet D from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
Uh-huh.
and it's one of those like she's a genius, but she's also a mom.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At first, it's like, oh man, is this another one of those Sherlock shows where she just deciphers a crime scene, like, and so like the first two times she does it, it's like, oh, this is kind of annoying. When by the fourth or fifth time in the first episode she does it, I'm like, oh, this is making fun of Sherlock. um, so if you haven't seen High Potential, I recommend it. I think from what I can tell, I think it's actually getting like really good reviews. So it's good to know that it's not just me and my dad and my mom watching it.
Yeah. I think
It's
my parents watch it too. So
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it's Drew Goddard is the showrunner. So
Cool.
yeah. So finally, this isn't necessarily a specific movie, but anything made by these two, I think, are perfect for those who don't particularly enjoy horror movies. We have M. Night Shyamalan and Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele has three movies: Get Out, Us, and Nope. I think all three of them, are great. Starter horror movies. They're not too scary. As far as quality goes, I love Get Out and I love Nope. I really don't like Us, but barring quality, I think that all three of those movies. And Shyamalan, first of all, I think Shyamalan gets a bad rap. I think that Shyamalan had a really bad streak for about 4 years, and unfortunately, I think that has put a stain on his resume. Is the
Mhm.
from The Happening all the way to After Earth, that really hurt his reputation. um,
Yeah. I will still say Signs is one of my favorite movies.
yes, absolutely. Uh, Signs is fantastic, and so the reason that I was actually just going to put Split on here, but
Mhm.
then I thought about Sixth Sense, then I thought about Signs, and I'm like, oh, this is just, yeah, please, just Old is one of his more recent ones. I really liked Old. Knock at the Cabin, that's another good one that's not too scary. Um, Knock at the Cabin's interesting because that's another one where Dave Batista acts his heart out, and you don't expect him to. um, and another thing that I recommend people do is, not only does Shyamalan direct, look at the things that he's also been a producer on two, because they're very similar. The most recent one, Watchers, I haven't seen it. That one's by his daughter. I haven't heard great things, but I'm thinking more of Devil. Devil is a movie that he produced that came out. Have you seen it?
Heard about where they're in the elevator.
Yes, yes. So, Devil is a movie where, and it's one that he produced, but he did not. Uh, he did not direct, but it is about a group of people who were stuck in stuck in an elevator with the devil. Now it's not like it's a mystery because you don't know who the devil is.
Right.
It's not like they're stuck in they're not stuck in an elevator with horns and pitchfork.
Right.
But that's fantastic. Yeah, and then once you get past that bad spell with Last Airbender and After Earth and all that, 2015 he came out with The Visit, which I
Is
think
that the one
is
where the kids are visiting their grandparents?
yes. It's got a great. Could you climb into the oven to clean it for me?
Yes.
And then obviously Split. I think. Gun to my head, what is the bar none best Shyamalan film? I mean, it's probably Split. I've got my own personal favorites, but if we're objectivity, it's definitely Split. So yeah, I think I didn't want to just put Get Out and Split on here. I mean, I just wanted to shout out both of these directors. Another thing, Jordan Peele actually remade Twilight Zone for a little bit there, and I've watched a couple episodes. At least the episodes I've seen, I actually really like them.
I didn't watch any of it, but my big issue was that Twilight Zone, which was a fantastic series, but it was basically family viewing, and this new version is not.
Yes, definitely. I think one of the episodes that I really liked was who was it? I think it was it was Adam Scott. He was on a plane and he was listening to a podcast about a plane that goes missing, and it turns out that it's the plane that he's on.
Nice.
And then there's another one with Kumail Nanjiani. Kumail Nanjiani, he plays a comedian who it turns out so he is a bombing comedian. He makes a deal with I don't think it's with the devil, but essentially he makes a deal with the devil that he will become a great comedian, but anytime he makes a joke about somebody, they cease to exist. Great stuff. So yeah, these two directors, these two creators, anything they do, barring that bad spell for about 4 years for Shyamalan, I think they've got great stuff, and I think they've got some stuff that I watched Signs when I was about 7 or 8. I think it's fine. Get Out, definitely a little older. That one's probably more of the 13, 14 range. But yeah, Shyamalan for younger, Peele for a little bit older. These are great.
So that's our list of scary movies that, if you don't really like scary films, these are the ones to check out. But what we missed? There's probably some great ones that we just didn't list. We mentioned Jaws earlier. I think the second Aliens movie is less scary than the other ones. That's actually a lot of fun. So I'm sure there's others that we missed. So be sure to comment, like, and share this with your friends. And until next time, I've been Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
And we'll catch you next time in the Shark Pond.
See ya.